Hi there. My entire life, I've been seeking external approval. And I know that you will probably be able to relate to that. In fact, I know that this is part of our societal conditioning. We are taught to prescribe to a specific criteria for success. That is usually wealth, career success, marriage, children, a house, a superannuation, retirement fund, etc., etc. We've heard these messages our entire lives. Now, naturally, we're not all going to have the same value system. In other words, we're not going to have the same striving for something because we're not going to feel it's actually important to us. There's confusion, though. There's conflict because we're told it is important and it should be important. And so we have this conflict that we know we don't really feel aligned with that particular achievement, that striving for that success. We don't feel aligned at all. It feels off. But we're told that it is the definition of success. And so we have this parts issue. Part of us feels conflicted. The other part of us is confused. Part of us knows that something's wrong. The other part of us is trying to be like everybody else. Now, naturally, this is a form of inner slavery. This is the opposite of what sovereignty means. This is the opposite of knowing and exercising who you really are as a multidimensional being, as pure loving awareness, having a human experience. You have, unfortunately, fallen for one of the massive programs. They talk a lot about mass formation, mass hypnosis. This is a big one, especially in the Western culture, that we are to subscribe to a certain criteria for success that everyone else subscribes to. And we wonder why we're unhappy. Even when we achieve those things in our life, there's unhappiness within the happiness because it's not really genuine joy and happiness and alignment, congruence with our soul, with our spirit, with our being, with the part of us that is beyond this 3 dimensions. So I've been obviously on the journey myself to rewiring and deleting these success programs. And it began when I started to learn about neuro-linguistic programming, and we had to disseminate all of the programs that we had running within us, within our minds, and chip away at deleting them. And that's totally possible. I can definitely attest to that. There's a freedom that comes with deleting programs that are part of the slave system, part of the simulation that trap us and keep us captive, keep us miserable. Now, the other day, I thought, I'm going to explore what my version of success is. What is my definition? And I was actually alarmed when I started to write down what I thought were my definitions of success. One of them that really stopped me and made me realize a problem was that I had to become enlightened in order to be successful. I had to be self-realized. Of course, this is a noble journey that many of us are on. We're striving towards this higher perception, this ability to see the oneness and walk through this life unified with Source at all times, seeing the love in everything. But it's not always achievable in a lifetime. This is something that many ancient sages and teachers have also put as their goal in their lives. And not all of them reach that. Yet here I am, identifying my criteria for success must be that I reach enlightenment, self-realization. And I wondered why I always felt like I wasn't getting there, like I wasn't achieving. like I never felt success or fulfillment. And that's because I put this very rigid success requirement criteria that I had to be enlightened. Now that's going to put a lot of pressure on someone. The second alarm bell that rung when I was writing down my definition of success was that I had to have cleared all of my traumas and all of my shadows in my life to be able to consider myself successful. Now that begs problems too, doesn't it? We are not meant to be perfect. If we were perfect, we probably wouldn't be incarnated here. We're here for a reason. We're here to grow, to learn, to transform, to see the contrast, to experience the contrast, to experience the polarity. So for me to think that I can only feel success when I've reached enlightenment and when I've completely cleared and healed all my traumas, for me to do that to myself is a losing game. I'm never going to feel like I am successful. So this is really a question for you. How do you define your own personal success in this life experience? It's really good exercise to write these down. Now, one of the things that I realized is for my own personal success, and this is more of an empowering criteria, is that I need to be always truthful and aligned and congruent in what I do and say in interacting with others and myself. I cannot deceive myself or others anymore. I must speak the truth. And I'm finding actually a lot of people, like a tipping point that's just gone on recently, a lot of people are also realizing they cannot operate any other way anymore. They have to speak truth only. And I think that's a noble criteria for success. I think we can strive and achieve that in our lives. Now, for me, another criteria for success was that I would always keep source, the creator, the divine, at the forefront of my experience as the priority, as the highest value, each step, each moment of this life. My highest goal is to keep going up in my levels of perception, to keep striving towards being and demonstrating love. And I think that's a noble criteria. That way we haven't put a measurement on something that's unachievable. So check your criteria for what you deem as success. You may actually have criteria that is unachievable. If you have criteria that is unachievable, you're going to feel constant failure. You're going to feel constantly frustrated. And you're going to feel constantly uneasy in yourself because you know that there's something you haven't been doing right to get where you believe is right. So I hope that's making sense. Now I'll just check my notes here. So I believe that in order for us to be successful in this life, we need to renege, release, put down, forget about society's success criteria. Has it ever made you happy? If you really ask yourself, for real, like really ask yourself, has it ever made me happy? Is striving towards these superficial material goals that are defined by the society and the narrative? Have they ever actually made me feel truly and deeply peaceful and blissful and fulfilled? Now, the reason you're probably never going to be 100% feeling fulfilled if you strive for these external successes is because it's an external force. And I've talked about this in other videos, but you're relying on something outside of yourself when you are pure loving awareness, having a human experience. If you're going to be bogged down by seeking energy from external forces for your own feeling of completeness, you're never going to find it. So a constant feeling of dissatisfaction. So the answer, I believe, is to make your highest value not something material that you achieve as a success in the outer world, but something within. For me, that is connection with source. It's very simple, but it actually trickles into every single aspect of this experience in a very empowering and positive way. It is the answer to everything. Everything is that communion with source. That communion with source will give you all of the fulfillment that you need, all of the feeling of achievement that you need, all of the feeling of love, acceptance, approval that you need. We no longer need to seek to be desired or approved by anyone or any system. Now that's freedom, that's sovereignty, that's a noble goal. So if there's anything in your life or anyone in your life or any relationship in your life that you are seeking desire from, for them to be desiring you, for them to be approving you, then that's a red flag. It's time to reassess what you consider success. Time to reassess success. So I hope this video has been encouraging, shed some light on why you may be feeling unfulfilled and why it may be that you still don't feel good even though you've succeeded in all of these societal achievements. A lot of people with a lot of these things feel very deeply miserable and unhappy. And the answer is clear. We need that union with source. It needs to be the priority. It needs to be the focus. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and have a beautiful day. See ya.